Hello and welcome to another episode of Express Mobility, the Financial Express. Today we have with us Mr. Ashok Minda, who is the Group CEO of Minda Corporation. And today we are trying to understand from him, what is his views for the ongoing situation in the country as well as global automotive industry, and how does he view, the situation to improve. So, Mr. Minda, first of all, welcome and thank you for joining us. Uh, let me begin with a very simple question. At present, what are the products that you're serving for the automotive industry?
We are in mainly in the electrical and electronic product segments. We are supplying our vehicle security system. We call it vehicle access system. And then we have driver information and safety, which includes speedometer, cluster, sensors, wiring harness. Then we have interior plastic, where center console, air vent, and then we have EV, which is DC-DC converter, battery chargers, and then we have the electronic products like ITS, and telematics, MSCU, etc.
Correct. And last 2 years has been challenging, not just for you, but for the overall industry. But when I look at your financial performance for the last 2 years, you have actually managed to successfully navigate and grow your business despite the challenges. Could you let us know what were the steps that you helped you, to navigate through this challenges effectively?
One of the important reasons to maintain and to sustain this growth and the financials result, one is that we have introduced our product with a premiumization. For example, mechanical key set to the smart key sets, where the price was somewhere about 300 and 400 rupees, and it has moved to 1,400, 500 rupees. Similarly, like per vehicle content, we have increased from somewhere 4,000 rupees to 10,000 rupees. And the same way, the premiumization in our cluster segment, which is earlier it was mechanical, then we switch over to the electronic. Now it is TFT 3 inches to 7 inches. So that is how we are improving our product value per vehicle, and that is one of the reason of the growth. And to maintain the growth, last year we grow around 26% in financial year 2022, and we achieved the EBITDA margin of double digit, around in double digits. So these are the area where we have grown. We have also focused in export and in the aftermarket area. So all put together is we could sustain the growth, and we could achieve 26% of the growth.
And right now, one of the key challenges for the auto industry is, a two-pronged effect of the global crisis. One is the semiconductor shortage, and then again is the price increase of key raw materials, which is if I'm not wrong, has not been the OEMs have not been completely be able to absorb the cost. So how do you see this particular situation, and does this also impact your potential growth?
Yes, if you see the real challenge is, as you very correctly said, semiconductor is a real challenge, which I believe that this will continue till next financial year. Secondly, the commodity prices you have said, and there is the cost of the rising ownership is another challenge which industry is facing. But from our perspective, we have a back-to-back arrangement with the customer, whatever the commodity we have. So that is why we do not get the impact on our P&L. But there are other commodity also which is not having back-to-back arrangement, which we are approaching, and customer is considering to give these back-to-back arrangement for us, because we are the component manufacturer. We are not playing in the commodity. So but undoubtedly this is a big challenge. And from the semiconductor perspective, the fluctuation and the inventory has definitely gone high, but the fluctuation in demand, and manufacturing, production planning and manufacturing is a big challenge. And this will continue, and we have to plan ourselves in such a way that from our perspective or from Spark Minda side, there should not be any disruption at the customer end.
And coming to the various product segments, if I'm not wrong, you cater to the two-wheelers, three-wheelers, commercial vehicle, and as well as passenger vehicle segment, right? So where do you see the growth coming from? Because if I look at the volumes in the two-wheeler, three-wheeler, and commercial vehicle space, the growth has not been as what the industry would have liked. The only respite is it, yes, as you mentioned, there is a growth in the premium segment of the auto industry. So do you see that that the premium sales will be able to counter the effect of slowing demand in the entry level segment?
I feel, say, premium segment, as we all know, the premium segment is going to grow. But considering the captive requirement in Indian market and having so much of youth population, for the short-term perspective, yes, there could be an impact in the market. But for the long term, this two-wheeler as well as the entry segment vehicle will definitely grow, considering the captive requirement. And we know that we have seen in the past that when the recession is in US and Europe, but India has come up very, very fast. The same way it will happen if at all such situation will be there in future, because of the India captive requirement is a good opportunity for all of automobile and auto component supplier.
And Mr. Minda, going forward, if I'm not wrong, in last 2 years, you've announced a number of new partnerships and JVs, bringing new technology to India. One being with Israel's Ride Vision, which I think is a very unique solution. And if I'm not wrong, it is targeted in the above 300cc two-wheeler segment. So can you let us know what has been the development in that front? And also, will that solution be looked for the aftermarket? Because I was talking to the CEO of Ride Vision, Uri Lavi. I know him from before your partnership, and I had congratulated him. So he told me it will now depend on how Minda wants to take it forward for the Indian market. So can you elaborate on that particular partnership?
See, what I feel is that the customer, the end user and end customer, that is the OEMs as well as the customer end user requires the customer comfort. So one is the customer comfort is going to increase continuously. Secondly, the safety. The safety is also going to increase on a regular basis from the logistically point of view, as well as from the customer perspective. And this ADAS system, or for the two-wheeler as well as the four-wheeler, at the moment it is not being used so regularly with the customer, but over a period, this is going to be mandatory, and whosoever will be entering in the beginning, like us, they will get the advantage in future for such type of products.
And going forward, what will be the focus area for your organization? I mean, which areas do you see will drive growth? EV, I'm pretty sure EV would be one key area, and as well as safety, which you highlighted about. But in addition, can you be a bit specific about where are you focusing for getting growth?
See, one is, as I mentioned one is that continuously to invest in the technology, and we have to build our own technology. We should not depend on outside, because the cost of observing technology from outside is very, very expensive, and we have to do the frugal engineering. So hence, we have to invest continuously in the R&Ds. And like we have invested in the past and developed the product like smart key, battery charger, DC-DC converter, antenna, and ITC, etc. And other perspective is the design is also very, very important. So we are also investing in the design studio so that whatever the product we are making and subsequently our OEM is giving to the end user, they should be attractive. So we are spending in design studio and so on. Other than this, the technology side, we feel that the uses of information technology, the digitization, is another focus area across the Spark Minda group. And electronic, what I feel is going to increase from 10-15% to 40% in years to come. So there we are investing in electronics, not only from the R&D side, but also from the manufacturing capability side, whether it is SMT lines or whether it is electronic manufacturing or assembling lines. And for the growth, we are also giving focus on the export and the aftermarket. We are doing around our 12% is our export, and we see there is a huge potential because not only in India, so many customers outside India wanted to reduce their dependability from China and move either to Vietnam or Indonesia or to India. So that is also going to be our focus area where we feel we should continue to do efforts in the export side. Finally, everything, India is a very cost competitive market, so we have to do the cost optimization. So these are the area of our, as a Spark Minda, our focus area.
So you mentioned that, exports right now contribute around 12% to your revenues. What is the potential that you see? As you mentioned, everyone's looking at China +1, and India, because of its frugal engineering, cost optimization, and focus on quality, is one of the most ideal locations for global automakers to look for their sourcing needs. For Spark Minda, what is the internal target? So from 12% to XYZ. How much do you see the exports can increase further?
The important point is that which are the process which is difficult to produce in Europe and US. Like for example, where there is a hard to produce for example, castings, and the other products like where the labor content is much more. For example, wiring harness. So we have focused on these two products because that is giving an advantage for any customer in Europe and US to move to India because the gap in terms of the people cost is much higher in their territory.
Correct.
So these are the 2-3 products which we are giving focus, and that will take us to increase the export potential.
And coming to the aftermarket segment, what is the split between OE business and aftermarket at present?
The same 10-12% is our aftermarket business. Correct. And whatever the product we are manufacturing, and we are doing it aftermarkets, and we are continuously adding, because we have around 500 dealers, 7,000 retailers. So why don't we use those network? And so we are continuously adding the products to service as a whole the basket to the dealers as well as to the mechanics.
And going forward, how much investments have you earmarked for the next 5 years, and what will be the split between capacity expansion and R&D or new product developments?
We, as I mentioned you, this is a very important point to invest technology. Somewhere around 2% we are investing on our turnover in the R&D, but this we are definitely going to increase. As I mentioned you, we have to create our own technology and not to depend outside. So we are increasing that percentage. Somewhere 2.5 to 3% we must spend on this. In the other investment, we have one is our regular capex. which is somewhere around 150 every year, 150 crores every year we are investing to maintain the reasonable growth. Over and above the new projects or the major capacity enhancement, we are continuously investing, and also in some merger and acquisition. That is the additional investment which depends on what are the projects is coming up and what are the in the legacy as well as in the non-legacy. Whatever the projects we are, it will come. We are investing because our net debt is almost 50 crores to 100 crores rupees.
Right.
So we have a very good leverage to invest in the new projects.
Correct. And going about, you mentioned a very important point, partnerships, acquisition, mergers. So, are there any new partnerships or acquisitions in the pipeline? And if yes, what will be the area or what would be the focus area for this partnerships and acquisitions?
We have complete team of taking care of this, but we have decided our norm and guideline. For example, we have to be, any merger and acquisition has to be relevant in our product line, in our core business. We have decided what is our core business, and we should not go out of that. Our core business is one criteria. Second is we always must see that we should give the return to the return on investment or return on capital employed and create the shareholder values. Not a company which we have to turn around and so on. So we have norms, and we are in the process of, or we have already identified 2-3 merger and acquisition, but that has not come to that stage where I can communicate to you. But definitely we are working within our core business and within our norms.
So going forward, is it safe to say that in this particular financial year, we can expect some major announcements, maybe a couple of them, around mergers and acquisitions from the Minda Group?
Hopefully, yes. We are working for that. We, as I mentioned you, we have a net debt is almost negligible. Correct. So we have potential, and we are seeing how to grow and how to give the good return to our shareholders.
Okay. I am almost done. I have only last 2 questions. Okay. One is because of the disruptions in the automotive industries, will mergers and acquisitions and JVs and partnerships become the new norm for growth? Or do you see that legacy big established companies like yourself can sustain growth through innovating by themselves inside the organization itself?
As I mentioned you, it is a process. Unless and until your dependability on the joint venture is there from the technology perspective, it will be very difficult, because the movement in technology is very, very fast. And that is what I said, we have to build our own technology and to reduce the dependence on the outside. But from the technology perspective, if the product is such a way that if we will develop our own technology and it will take longer time, then time to market will not allow us to do it by our own. So we have to be dependent on the JV. It is not a clear-cut line per se that where to depend and where not to depend. It depends on the situation to situation, as well as product to product, and as well as technology, considering the technology.
Okay. And my last question, EV sales have been on a rise in India, especially in the 2-wheeler segment. 3-wheeler is picking up. Passenger vehicle, again, because of the lack of options, there are few models which are doing well and others are doing okay. Do you see this the sales in EV segment is organic and sustainable, or do you see that this is just because of the incentives from the government? And when do you see the real volumes coming in?
See, my perspective, this is my view. The EV is not going to finish the IC engine. Definitely by 2025 or by 30, the changeover will be 15 to 20% or maybe 25%. So IC is going to continue, and EV is going to increase step by step because of one is the cost of ownership is high at the moment. The infrastructure is requires a lot of improvement. Considering that factor, I feel that 15 to 25% will be the market, because the market is also going to increase.
Correct.
So, my perspective, this will move, yes, but better, the more faster will be in 2 and 3-wheeler, and then subsequently lesser in 4-wheeler and SUV and commercial vehicle, and tractors will take very, very long time for the EV. So, but it is a long-term projects. So that is why we have started investing. We have acquired 26% in EVQ, where battery charger we are going to produce. We are developing our own, and we have created a Spark Minda Green Mobility to start with, and over a period. This is a long-term projects, and we are.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Minda. It was really interesting to talk to you and understand. You've been a good source of knowledge for us. Thank you for joining us at Express Mobility. I look forward to connecting again with you soon.
Thank you, Jit. Thank you very much.
Thank you.